Look at that. She's so young.
Wait, that girl.
Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here. Alright, let's see. We did DuckTales to bring in new intellectuals and King of the Hill to please old ones, so at this point, it's time for either Daria or a superhero show. Daria doesn't really have anything Christmas related. I mean, it does have that weird Holiday Spirits episode, but I'm definitely not counting that. Superhero show it is. Today we're looking at the Static Shock episode Frozen Out. I've seen this episode before, but I have very little memory of it, except for the church scene at the end. I must have seen that like 920 times. What I do know is that it's supposed to be a real tearjerker of an episode. Pff, yeah, alright. Considering my masculinity is so high it rivals both Mufasa and Kerchak combined, that's a fact. I highly doubt there will be any tears coming from these shades. The episode starts on a winter night. It's Christmas time and Static is making his rounds through the city. Unfortunately, there's so much trouble, he winds up being late to Frida's Hanukkah get-together.
I've accounted for almost every metahuman in town. I've been invited to a lot of parties and I'm not gonna miss them.
This is the start of a running topic throughout the episode, Virgil being extremely busy throughout the holidays. Before Virgil can enjoy himself for too long, the lights cut out throughout the neighborhood.
I've got a funny feeling.
Over a power outage. Richie, you might want to calm down. These things do happen, even in places without bang babies.
Come on, let's hit the buffet.
How can you think about food? This could be some kind of crisis.
It's a power outage, dude. Virgil just got back from being a superhero. Let the man have some downtime. Due to Richie's worrying, Virgil uses his powers to listen in on radio waves. Because he can do that, apparently. Turns out Richie was right. There is some kind of crisis going on at a nearby power plant.
Save me a plate.
Told you.
I mean, yeah, but you didn't deserve to be right. You were basically backseat superheroing, and in a really annoying way, I might add. Virgil heads to the power plant dripped out as Static and gets the 411 from the workers on the scene.
You just sprouted up, bang. And unless we get us a sudden heat wave, it's gonna take us a week to hack through that thing.
Nah, what is with that animation? It's not bad, but there's way more in-betweens than usual. Also, it's a good thing Fria's got a menorah. If her power's gonna be gone for a week, candles that can last for 8 days straight should come in handy. Huh. I never thought of electricity melting ice. I mean, obviously it generates heat, so there's no reason why it couldn't, but it just feels like a weird solution. The blast works, but it drains Static of all his electricity. Before he can catch his breath, the area gets attacked by ice stalactites. Wait, are they still stalactites if they have no ceiling? Thankfully, Virgil's at a power plant, so finding a place to recharge isn't the most difficult thing in the world.
Okay, whoever you are, come out where I can see you.
Hey! Got any change?
Oh no, oh no.
Look, I'd like to help, but now's not a good time, okay?
Not a good time, no. Never a good time.
Ah, that's not fair. When I said I wasn't gonna cry, I didn't know they got Hynden Walsh in this. How is anyone who's seen Justice League Unlimited supposed to not cry hearing her sad voice?
Could you stay with me? I'm scared.
Notice how this scene plays out. Static shouts in the air for the person who attacked him to come out. Immediately after, this girl appears and calls him over. Now, we, the audience, have the benefit of cinematography, so we can tell she's obviously the culprit. However, Static is so busy looking for a dangerous bang baby, he completely glosses over this girl. The person he wanted to find literally answered his call, yet he ignored her because she was homeless. We transition to the next morning where Virgil wakes up to the news that Static has volunteered to light Dakota City's Christmas tree on Christmas Eve.
How did this happen?
Because I set it up.
Richie, a cliche among superheroes is that people who know them tend to get attacked. Shoot, you should be aware of this since you yourself were kidnapped by Ebon for openly admitting you were friends with Static.
Fee, get with the times. You have to promote yourself, meet and greet, press the flesh.
Well, he doesn't have to promote himself. He should, because as a superhero, the more things he does for the public, the better morale will be for the city, but it's not a must. Also, Richie, who are you to make that decision for him?
We're talking about Christmas Eve here, Richie. I got plans.
Well, that's the price you pay for fame.
You've got to be kidding me. He really is backseat superheroing. Richie, calm down. You'll get your own power soon enough. Later at the mall, we see Virgil and Daisy doing some Christmas shopping. Virgil spots the girl he saw on the previous night and this time realizes she must have been the one responsible for the attack. He makes an excuse to Daisy and dips out so he can do the superhero thing.
It's so beautiful.
It certainly is. Now run along. I don't think you belong here.
To be fair, if I had freezing powers and someone randomly put their hands on me, I would probably have the same reaction.
No, I don't belong. I don't belong anywhere!
One thing I greatly appreciate is how, through the girl's responses, we somewhat see a bit of her journey. When she asked Static for some change and he told her now was not a good time, her response was,
Not a good time, no. Never a good time.
and here, when the clerk tells her she doesn't belong, she starts mumbling to herself,
No, I don't belong. I don't belong anywhere!
These responses show that she's been told this stuff many times in her life. My guess is the episode wants to emphasize that sometimes we tell a person something and think it's no big deal because we've only told them once, but that's not the person's only time hearing it. How many times do you have to be told you don't belong or that now's not a good time to help you before that starts to affect your view of yourself and of the world? Upset by what just happened, the Bang Baby starts running through the mall, freezing her surroundings along the way. Static tries to intervene, but gets caught up in the chaos.
Microwave mode.
Static has got to be one of the most I just made up this power and you can't question it heroes ever.
I won't go. I can't. I won't.
The episode makes it very clear that this girl is having trouble keeping it all together. These freakouts are a result of a mentally unstable person. The girl sees a mother and her daughter, which causes her to flash back to her past. We see how she herself was once a happy little girl living with her own mother and, shadowy, maybe evil stepdad? Unfortunately, the girl's mother was sick, and the last thing she gave her daughter before passing away was a Christmas angel, which explains the scene in the shop earlier. After the death of her mother, the girl was supposed to go into child services.
You have to come with me now.
Static is able to get himself free, but he took too long, missing out where the girl went. Later at the community center, we see Virgil and Richie helping to move some supplies.
So what did old Blue Cheeks take?
That's the weird part. She didn't take a thing. Just freaked out, trashed them all, and took off.
Virgil, did you forget Thomas? There are Bang Babies who lash out without actually wanting to hurt anybody.
You know, the lifting would go faster with a little magnetic boost.
Okay, Richie's superpowers definitely haven't kicked in yet because that is the dumbest thing he's ever said.
Somebody might notice.
No sweat. I'll create a distraction when my arms fall off.
Volunteer work feels a bit hollow when you complain about it. Also, is anyone actually forcing Richie to do this? Like, Virgil has to help out. His dad runs the shelter and forces him to. What's keeping Richie there other than being friends with Virgil?
Hey, I'm tired too, okay?
V, you're a superhero. You work 24/7, not 9 to 5.
I'm sorry, the superhero that is stretched too thin, who you overbooked by the way, is not allowed to complain about how tired he is, but you, who is doing volunteer work, voluntarily, are?
And on that note, I'm out of here. I wasn't talking about me.
Who wrote Richie this episode? Why is he so awful? Virgil goes to confirm with his dad that he's allowed to head out for the day. Here we see Reverend Anderson. He's here because the church and the community center are teaming up for a food drive for the homeless, hence the supplies.
Pops, can I go home now? I'm getting pooped from moving all this stuff.
Diction and tone are very important, Virgil. What you just said is bound to get you a lecture.
This stuff is the only way some poor families can get through the holidays. That's right.
Mr. Hawkins and the Reverend explain to Virgil about homelessness, which is really the writers talking to the kids at home about the subject. You can usually tell this is happening when the characters start bringing up random statistics.
The government says there are more than 7 million homeless people in this country. Maybe 500,000 of them are kids your age or younger.
Oh boy, Daisy's Kwanzaa party.
Wait, Daisy's Kwanzaa party? What ethnicity is Daisy again? I thought she was Asian. Golly, that girl light skin. She not adopted, is she? I genuinely don't remember. Virgil goes home to change for Daisy's party, but before he can head out, Richie calls and tells him the blue skin Bang Baby has snowed in the turnpike, which of course means Static has to intervene.
You got a name?
The voices in the dark, they call me Permafrost.
Tell the voices in the dark they got good taste in names. Hey, I just realized something. Permafrost is wearing a jacket and a scarf. While it's possible that's just for character design, I'm gonna make the assumption that she's not playing by Elsa rules. As in, the cold does bother her. Man, that's gotta suck. Imagine not being immune to your own deadly superpower.
You have to come with me now.
I told you, diction and tone. Static tries to chase down Permafrost, but her ice powers make things very difficult. Virgil, stop the truck! If action films and video games have taught me anything, it's that thing's gonna blow if it hits something. Static gets buried under an avalanche, causing him to lose Permafrost.
She was heading down there. Dakota City Cable Car Company.
Why is the font on Depot different?
This place has seen better days.
Ugh, that shot needed some work. Virgil's size combined with the perspective is completely off. Static takes a look around and discovers the building is being used as a shelter for some squatters.
I'm trying to find a girl about this tall, light blue skin. Come on, it's not the kind of thing you wouldn't notice.
You literally didn't notice it when you first saw her, Virgil. Eventually, one of the squatters helps, and Virgil is able to find where Permafrost is living. That's not how light works. Static is unable to find Permafrost, but he does find a picture of her and her mother. He steals the picture and flies away, with Permafrost noticing and getting angry. As she should. Okay, I know Static is using it for an investigation, so it's not the same as stealing. But man, did I get heated when I first watched that scene. You can't just take people's stuff. Since Reverend Anderson is dealing with the homeless, Static heads to him hoping he can get some answers. The Reverend reveals the girl's full name is Maureen Connor, which when you think about it makes an earlier scene a lot sadder. Remember, Static asked Maureen what her name was. Not only did she not say Maureen, but she couldn't even remember. The only reason she said Permafrost is because other people were calling her that. Though it is possible I'm looking too much into that. I guess Maureen could have introduced herself as Permafrost because that's her Bang Baby name and she was talking to Static.
She used to come to the church for meals, but I haven't seen her in more than a year.
Right after the Big Bang happened.
Wait, what? Okay, I thought Maureen was a late bloomer of a Bang Baby. Not everyone gets their powers immediately after being exposed to Big Bang gas. Shoot, it's gonna take Richie maybe a year and a half before his powers kick in. So it would make sense that Maureen didn't get her powers until recently. But if she disappeared immediately after the Big Bang happened, that would mean something in her life changed at that moment, i.e. her getting powers. But if she got her powers way back when, why is she only just now being a problem? Shouldn't there have been freak ice attacks and snowstorms for over a year? Maybe her powers started small and are now growing. That's the best excuse I can think of.
Her mother died a few years ago. Her stepfather wanted nothing to do with her. Before long, she ended up on the street.
You'll catch flies doing that, Virgil.
That's gotta mess with your head. I'm not a social worker. How can I help someone like that?
Try to remember this. She's a person like you and me, a person in pain.
Before seeing Static out, Reverend Anderson invites him to their interfaith service later that night. Wait, interfaith? Is that a normal thing? It seems very ambitious.
Church service. Pops will slaughter me if I don't show up.
As the son of a pastor, teenage me has never related so hard to anyone before. Later that evening, we see Static at the tree lighting ceremony.
Okay, here goes.
She blew the sparks from his hands. Is that even possible? Maureen, upset by having her picture taken, is ready to throw down. All those other times, her powers were just being unleashed wildly, but this time, she's here specifically to fight.
Come on, Maureen, chill out.
You punned during a serious moment on purpose, didn't you?
You know my name?
I found out from some people who care about you.
Nobody cares about me!
Walt, you brought your A game, but I'm resisting. There shan't be tears this night?
And I want to help you. I know what you've gone through.
Oh, really, Virgil? You're gonna do the I know your pain route? Yes, you're both metahumans, but let's get real. You've got family, friends, food, and a synonym for home that starts with an F. How could you possibly relate to this girl in any way whatsoever?
Because I lost my mom too.
Nobody told me the tears would come from Virgil. That's cheating! How did I forget he lost his mom? It's the most important part of his backstory. Having made a connection, Virgil and Maureen have a talk about why she's been lashing out through her powers.
When you're homeless, people look right through you. It's like you're not even there.
Look, I'd like to help, but now's not a good time, okay? Yeah, I've been guilty of that.
Insert a speech about superheroes being good people here. After letting her vent about her situation, Static takes Maureen back to Reverend Anderson. Well, that's quite a makeover. I guess the Snow Queen look only appears when she uses her powers.
We want to help, but we can't make you do anything you don't want to.
I want to get better.
I really love that part. I know some people think that the concepts of bootstraps and charity can't coexist, but I disagree. Even for someone like Maureen, who is definitely a victim of circumstance and is a child, it eventually does get to a point where she has to take some responsibility for herself. The victim mentality talk that I'm pretty known for comes into play when people don't do the proper steps to take care of themselves, but still demand things get better. People have to do their part to help themselves, but you can't force them to do that.
She'll get you some warm clothes. It's been pretty cold out there.
Yes, it has.
Double entendre. It's literally been cold, partially because of Maureen, but also Maureen has felt human coldness outside and is beginning to feel its warmness in here. The episode ends at the interfaith service, where Reverend Anderson gives a speech about coming together and helping the less fortunate. Virgil is able to make it, and because of the ordeal he just went through, the sermon hits him pretty hard.
I'm just starting to see what the holidays are really about.
Merry Christmas, V.
Tender moment. But I ain't forgot how you've been acting this entire episode, Richie. And that was Frozen Out, Static Shock's Christmas episode. Get it? A person was frozen out of society while also happening to have ice powers. Like most Static Shock episodes, it does a really good job in trying to teach a very important lesson. I love me a good empathy moral, so I definitely approve of what this episode is trying to say. However, I do have some notes. First of all, Richie, everything about him. Second, while I love that this teaches one of Christmas's main messages, goodwill towards men, I feel like it's pushing aside one of Christmas's other messages, that being togetherness. The episode passively aggressively criticized Virgil's focus on all of his Christmas events, but all of his plans involve spending time with his loved ones. That's not a bad thing, especially during Christmas. Put all this in the DuckTales Christmas episode and Virgil comes out looking amazing. The only event that was more festivity than it was meaningful was the lighting of the Christmas tree, which Virgil didn't even want to do. Richie signed him up for that. I don't mind Virgil getting caught up in things and the episode teaching him a lesson, but the emphasis of how busy he is seems very unfair when he's doing his best to be in the Christmas spirit. A simple fix to this would have been, rather than have Virgil do a bunch of personal plans, have Static volunteer for a bunch of Christmas events like the tree lighting thing, and have the fame go to his head a little bit. I think that would clash better with the overlooking the homeless guilt trip rather than just Virgil trying to spend time with his loved ones. But that's just me being the overly critical fuddy-duddy that I am. What matters is that Static Shock was able to deliver a heartfelt, meaningful message about helping spread the warmth of Christmas and doing your best not to leave anyone out in the cold. This has been Shady Doorags. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.